Welcome to the Psychic Holistic Spotlight. I'm Sherry Kachanis, and I'm here with my co-hosts Ken Demers and Josie Way. And today, our guest is Maureen Carey of Natural Awakenings. Welcome, Maureen.
Thank you, Sherry.
How are you feeling today?
I'm fine, thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Excellent. So tell us a little bit about Natural Awakenings and how it came to be here in Rhode Island.
Well, it was not here. 7 years ago, I started it here. I found it down in Florida. I was looking for something else to do. I was in banking for 20 years, and I was about all set with being in banking. I was all done. It had served its purpose, and it was a great career for a while, and I was looking for something that was more fulfilling. I was looking for something that was more of a connection for me in the world. And I was trying different options. I was looking into different opportunities, and I found we're part of a franchise. Natural Awakenings is part of a franchise, and I found the magazine down in Orlando, Florida. And pretty much I picked it up at breakfast, and by the time I was done with breakfast, I knew that it was what I wanted to do. It was one of those moments where the skies opened and the angels sang, and it spoke to me. And I said, and I didn't know, I just knew that I loved the magazine, I loved the content, I loved everything about it, and I just knew that it was just, I didn't know what I was doing. There was a lot of stuff. I didn't know anything about publishing a magazine. I was in banking. But I knew that it was something that I wanted to do.
Were you interested in psychic stuff or holistic stuff before that?
I was always interested in healthy eating and exercising. I was interested in the environment. So I was interested in a lot of the editorial content.
More holistic.
Yes, and I was always interested in reading. So I always read everything, and I would subscribe to Natural Health magazine. So I was interested in reading all about the different things and the different modalities. I wasn't anywhere near as aware of them all as I have come to be now.
How long have you been doing this?
It'll be 7 years in September.
In Rhode Island?
In Rhode Island. In Rhode Island, it's been 20 years now for the franchise.
When I look at this, I see a lot of work.
Yeah.
You know, I read all these things on occasion when I have time, but a lot of work.
It is. It is.
A lot of chasing around after ads.
It is. It does get into a bit of a routine, a bit of a cyclical situation because it's monthly, so you do know what times of the month are going to be busier than others, and once you get into deadline time, all bets are off. Then it gets super crazy. But then you get a couple of days anyway afterwards where you can catch your breath.
What new awakenings has this given you?
It's given me an entirely new, great group of friends. I have found my people. That's what it has done. Banking, the people in banking, they were wonderful. I made some nice people there, but the people that I have met since I've been publishing the magazine.
In the holistic or the... In what?
And it just all together in the holistic world. I mean, yes, some of them are psychics, but certainly in the natural health, all together. It's lots of, whether they're customers, whether they're readers. I've just met so many wonderful people through the magazine that I feel like I have found my tribe.
Excellent. And that feels good, does it not?
Yes, absolutely, it does.
A large tribe.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Now, a lot of people may not have seen Natural Awakenings, but it is a natural magazine that you can get at various, for free, at various supermarkets and delis and sometimes beauty parlors. I know the Chinese restaurant near me has some.
Yes, yeah, we're in the Whole Foods, of course, and we're in the Dave's Markets. We're in a lot of the yoga studios, but we do try to also be in the Chinese restaurants. We don't want to just, reach the people who are already aware of natural living. We want to reach everybody to get everyone
How many
involved.
do you produce a month?
On average, about 22,000. And they go out to about 650 locations around the state.
Yeah, I pick mine up when I get them. White Light Bookstore.
Okay, yep.
And some of them, I see them at New Beginnings and places like that.
Yep, absolutely.
Now, do you distribute them
centers.
only in Rhode Island, or do you kind of wander over the border a bit?
Mainly in Rhode Island, because it is the way the franchise works. Is typically the way the franchise works is they would do it by county, but Rhode Island, of course, we're not quite big enough by county because it has to be a certain population to make it make sense. In Rhode Island, our counties, that's just not the case.
If you ask most people about counties in Rhode Island,
It's
They don't
not,
even know what
right,
county
and
they
yet,
live in.
Right, but other parts of the country, that's just how it is that they manage their populations.
I
if
was
you
out
will.
in, I think it was Oregon one time, and we stopped in a gas station, and the guy looked at the license plate. He says, "Oh, Rhode Island, I remember that state. It's 1/10 the size of our county." Not the state, the county.
Right,
So-
right. So I have the whole state here in Rhode Island, but because we are so small, we do fall over into the border over a little bit. So we go a little bit like into Seekonk, you know, on the other end. We'll go a little bit into Fall River on the other side, near the Tiverton.
Is this franchise in nearby Massachusetts?
Nope, the franchise is actually headquarters down in Naples, Florida.
No, I mean, are the branches of the franchise?
There is actually someone publishing in Massachusetts, in the Boston area,
Okay.
in Massachusetts. Yeah.
So it's not really a conflict.
No, it's not. And she's a good friend of mine. She lives in Warwick.
Warwick?
In Warwick, yes. Yes, the Rhode Island was taken. She fell in love with the magazine,
Yeah.
actually from reading my magazine.
That's cool.
Yes, yeah. So, but the Rhode Island franchise was taken, so she went with Boston.
Now, do you have a regular office that you go to?
I work out of my
With-
home office, which is a nice thing.
Is it piled high with odds and ends of
Oh.
interesting things to come?
Oh, absolutely. It's just piled high at the very least. Yes.
Where do you get some of your articles from? I know Learning That Transforms Us, Naturopathic Medicine, The Ease of Svarupa Yoga,
Svarupa yoga.
Life-Saving Acts. Is that the hot yoga? Is that what they call it?
No, Svarupa yoga. It's interesting. I had started doing it myself recently. It involves a lot of props. So it's very
A lot of what?
A lot of
Props.
props. Yeah,
To
so
keep
there's
you in place.
Yeah, so there's a lot of blankets involved in it. So
I
for
could
your
like that
legs.
one.
Yeah, exactly. It's very spine opening also. And
All
it's,
right.
Yes, yeah, and it's very meditative, which is what I like about it.
So very restorative. So you're
Yes.
really getting into the alignment and the position and relaxing, and that's what the props help with.
Exactly, exactly.
it.
And that's one of the wonderful things about yoga is there are so many different types of yoga
Yes.
and different styles that, you know, there's something for everybody. If you are looking for more of an exercise, there's power yoga, so you can get more of a workout with it. And if you want more of a meditative type of yoga, they have that also.
So, for example, where did that article come from?
That-
From the franchise or from someone local?
Nope, that article is a local article, actually. That's one of our advertisers that we were supporting with, that was a spotlight article about them, specifically about this group of Svarupa yoga teachers that they actually were able to get together and put this together.
Now, do you get articles from the national that deal with national people? I guess is, you know, like there's probably a jillion Rhode Islanders.
Well, there
that-
was a Louise Hay one from on her anniversary.
But I'm talking like
On our
if there's
birthday.
somebody that's big in California that we've never heard of, but the franchise people out there might send articles to the national and you,
Less likely for that to happen. We do get national articles, absolutely. I mean, we've had Dr. Oz in the magazine. We've had Wayne Dwyer. I mean, as an independent publisher, I would never be able to have access
That's what
to
I
these
mean.
people, right? But as a part of the franchise, I mean, there's almost 100 of us publishing across the country at this point. So with that type of power behind us, we can reach out to the bigger name folks, and we can draw in those sorts of articles.
who or what is Dr. Oz?
Oh,
Oh,
Really?
he doesn't watch a lot of TV.
Yeah.
yeah.
Here I do.
Okay.
About
Well-
houses and stuff.
Yes.
I like Wayne Dwyer.
So
And a few of the other
Maureen,
guys.
while you have the magazine, are there other things that Natural Awakenings puts on or does?
There is, as a matter of fact. We have an event, if I may, going on at the end of the month. On April 26th, we're doing the Natural Life Celebration, which is going to be at Hope Artist Village, and that's just going to be really great. We've got some great speakers that are going to be there, and we're going to have some vendors and some different workshops. So we're really excited about
So
that.
something for
I'm
everyone.
going.
Yeah. Oh, good. Absolutely.
What day is April 26th?
It's on
It's a
a Sunday.
Sunday.
It's a Sunday. So it's in the same location as the Winter Farmers Market.
So you have some keynote speakers as well as some other people and classes for people to hear other people speak.
Yes.
And learn about what they do. So there's a little bit of everything.
There is, yeah. So we're pretty excited about it.
Yeah, I know Roland Comtois is one of your speakers. And
Yes, he
he's a
is.
very gifted medium.
Yes.
I know Carrie Kedmore is one of your speakers.
Yep.
And she talks about spirituality and finance, blending them so that your finances are spiritual.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, she has a really great class that she does, and just to make you comfortable with your relationship with money.
Exactly.
Yes, which is something that people can really have uneasy relationships with, and she helps you work through that so that it makes everybody's life easier.
I see Curtis is speaking too.
Yes,
He's very
yeah,
dynamic.
Curtis is also, and so is Brian Sean Reed. He
Yes,
is also, if you've
very
seen him.
dynamic.
Yes, he's all but of 6'6".
I know.
He's just a very, very powerful presence. Brian is. So.
Do you have networking events for other professionals to come together and meet each other?
Yes, we do. We started a quarterly networking event. I had started an anniversary party when I first started the magazine, and we were just doing it once a year, of course, on our anniversary. And we would have such a good time that every year I would say, we should do this more often. And last year I said, all right, that's enough with talking about it. I'm going to do it now. And last year we started doing it quarterly, and it's been very well received. It's been different locations, different restaurants and such. And it's been a lot of fun. It really brings a wide variety of different people from different paths of life. So it's been very interesting. So we just had one, our first quarter one, last week. So that
Now,
was
if
fun.
somebody wants to get a hold of you to ask you a question, how do they do it?
Well, there's my phone number is in here,
But they
and
don't have this book in their hand.
okay. Well, you can get me at let me tell you a phone number. Okay, it's 401-709-2473, or I'm at mcarey@rinaturalawakenings.com.
Now, my question is, what kind of feedback questions? People pick this up and read it who aren't familiar with the stuff, and they have a question. What is the general kind of question that you might get from the population out there?
I really don't get many questions from people.
I can understand that.
I don't necessarily understand it. I would expect to hear more input from folks. I love the magazine a lot.
Yeah.
That's
I imagine if people want to know something, they want to know how to get in touch with someone, and the magazine makes it clear of how to get in touch with someone so that they won't have too many other questions.
we do try to do that. If we have a local expert that has authored an article, we try to make sure that their contact information is included, because if they are the local expert, then we want folks to be able to find them.
Yeah, because that's when we've had questions about the show. It's always been about
How do you find somebody?
someone
Exactly.
Interesting. Yeah.
and suggestions for other guests. We've had a few.
Have we? Okay. We've had one or two negative people, probably.
After 25 years, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I mean, they
that's-
sounded like idiots, but.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to happen. It's going to happen, and especially if people can think of this as, slightly alternative, then people can be offended.
Well, the problem is, people in the general religions aren't very well educated.
Well,
They know what their particular church teaches them, but there's no understanding behind it. I've had people ask me, well, you worship crystals, right? how do you answer that?
I don't. So last week for your first event, where was that last week?
Oh, that was the first time that we had done it at a private location. Like I said, typically we do them at restaurants. It was a little bit more hectic for me. I don't know that I'll be in a big rush to do that again, because typically if it's in a restaurant, I just walk in and everything is done. This time I was the one who was responsible for running around and making sure the food was there and the drinks were there and all of the details were put together. But it was at the Empowerment Factory at Hope Artist Village. And it was great. It was nice because it was more intimate to not be in the public space. It was just, like I said, it was just a little bit more hectic on the upfront side.
Do you have any affiliation with the Rhode Island Healers Association? Or?
I am a member. I've been working with them since I started the magazine, pretty much. Yeah, it's a wonderful group of people.
I just recently met them.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a great, nice bunch of ladies.
Yeah, we hope to have them on one night.
Oh, that'll be good. I know they have a big expo themselves usually
In
October.
The
In the fall, yes. Yeah, that's.
And they come from all different branches of healing.
They do. It's a nice group, though.
So you have this magazine, and we see the amount of work that goes into it. You must have some staff.
Just part-time people. It's the franchise is I'm very fortunate to have the franchise. As I had started to say, the majority, a lot of the articles come from the franchise. So the franchise has an editorial staff that is out there, and they are out there sourcing articles, and they can proofread them, and they can fact check them, and they can make sure that everything is valid and everything is good and real, so that by the time I get the articles, they're ready to go. They're ready to print. I don't really have to worry about it. I do like to get the articles from the local experts, though, also, because I really like the way that the magazine is able to kind of integrate the local and the national content. So like we were saying, we can have the Louise Hay and the different famous people, and then we can have our local experts as well.
What do you
This is
call
from
a local
teaches.
expert?
A local expert would be, we have Wendy Fashan, for example, and she is a very big environmentalist in Rhode Island. So she is a local expert in terms of nature.
Somebody that's been working in the field for X number of years and has an in-depth understanding of it.
Someone you know that's written in there is Chris McCullough.
Oh.
She's an expert in her field.
Yes.
What was her expert? She knows a lot of different things. What was she an expert in this time?
Well, in the tarot and all of its subtle meanings.
Okay. I mean, it's like her. She's got so many fields that she's good in. Somebody says, well, she's an expert in this, but what is this? You know.
It's good to have a lot of expertise.
Yes, the more you know, as Spirit has told me, the more you know, the more we can work with you.
Well, my understanding of that is that if they have no point of reference, it's hard for them to
They
communicate
can't
information
communicate.
to you.
They can, if you
In a
don't know what a
nutshell.
chakra is, how can they tell you that you have childhood issues in your second chakra and you don't know what a chakra is? Never mind, you're just learning you have childhood issues.
So she has to worry about semicolons and prepositions and stuff.
650 locations the magazine is distributed in. I've seen it in doctor's office, nurse's office, the building that my office is in. It's in the waiting room, and I always love to see the new issues. So how do you get all of those magazines all over the place? That's a lot of location.
Yeah, that's a lot of people.
It is, and just about a year ago, I stopped doing any of the distribution myself, and even at that point, I was really down to maybe just doing about 80 stops or so myself. And I now have a distribution company that does the majority of them, but my parents still do some. They're retired, so they still do some deliveries, and my mother-in-law still does some deliveries for me. Actually, it's my former mother-in-law.
Is your husband involved in this?
He's my IT department, so he does the computer stuff for me. So when
That's good.
Oh, you need one of those, absolutely.
Yeah, in this day
Yes.
and age.
Yeah.
I always call IT Houston. Houston, we have a problem.
Well, he works from home also, so it's easy. I could just call downstairs to the IT department.
What do you see yourself doing in 5 years, 10 years?
I don't know exactly. I'm not entirely certain. I will continue to be doing this at that point. I do take the responsibility of the magazine very seriously. So it is a lot of work. And while I don't find it to be work at this point, I do feel that, within a few years it is going to start. It is going to get more to that point. So I'm hoping, I am expecting on this path I will find my next journey.
Now that you've been exposed to umpteen different paths, is there one that really rings your bell?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. Still keeping my eyes open.
Now, concerning paying for all of this, you have to get people to advertise and stuff, and you have to have some sort of crew that works with the advertising and getting people together to, helping them with putting an ad in and because I know we're thinking of doing that ourselves from Psychic Holistic Spotlight, because it apparently occurs to us that 1 in every 3 people we speak to say, I didn't know there was a TV show.
Yeah, I didn't know until I heard from Sherry. So yes, it is true.
A lot of people, well, we would like to think a lot of people do watch it, because when I was in construction field, a lot of people would say, oh, I saw you on TV last night. As they're surfing or whatever, I don't know.
Right. Yeah, and I myself work with people a lot of times when they're looking to advertise. Fortunately, the magazine does a really good job of selling itself. I mean, it's out there, like you said, in 650 locations with all these magazines every month. So it does a very good job of...
And people call you up to want to place ads.
Yes.
It's not like you have to solicit them.
Fortunately, that is the preferred way it works.
Is it acceptance mainly in a certain type of the population? I mean, are there segments of the population that have absolutely zero interest in it, or?
I'm sure that there would be. Certainly not that I come across. I mean, obviously, the people that I see and the ones that I speak to are the people
that
who are interested in it. I mean, that's one of the reasons that I love. I vend at most of the expos that happen. We were just at one with Sean Aceto a few weeks ago. And there was another one before that, and with Susan Latai, and so I myself personally vended a lot of them because I really love to connect with the readers. I see the magazines going out every month, and I go to Whole Foods, and there's another 300 magazines that are gone, and I don't get to see who took them or who picked them up. So by going to the expos, I get to see the people that come by the table and say, I just love this magazine. Thank you so much for doing this. And that really makes it.
I was there, but I don't remember the table.
Near the front, in the entryway, on the way in.
Yeah. So I enjoy doing that. It's a good way to connect with people.
So you're actually creating a lot more exposure by going to these events, because one, you have the magazine there, and then people are recognizing you, which is really, that's a great thing.
Yeah,
and it helps you to connect with the people that are placing ads, and then some. So what a wonderful community. You're actually, in some way, it's become a community of people helping people.
Yeah, it is. And we work with people to help them design their ad, and we really do a lot with the editorial support. So if we do the news briefs, which are like little press releases, so that's just a really good way for people to get their name out and to let the folks in the community know what's going on, what they have in their business. And if you have a small business, you really should be having some sort of news. You should be thinking of some kind of special, or have some new certification that you're introducing, or some new staff, or something happening. So we work with people to try to make sure that they're keeping this information coming along. This is, free information that we put out there in addition to your advertising. So that way you can and if you want to write articles, some people really enjoy writing. So that's just another way. And then you establish yourself as an expert in the field. So that way people will be even more likely to call you up.
I find that over the years that I've been involved in the paranormal stuff, some people who I've met who say, oh yeah, I'm an expert, I'm this, I'm that, and then you talk to them and they've got no basis for their knowledge, or they don't.
Well,
they
that's
just don't know
reality.
anything.
There's lots of people
They're like on the
that think they're
kindergarten level.
experts.
Instead of trying to teach somebody, coming from a place of wisdom like whoever.
Yeah, and you're always going to find that, right? I mean, in all walks of life, you're always going to find
Yeah.
people that aren't as authentic.
Yeah,
Well,
or
it-
as talented.
What I've found is that there are a lot of newcomers that are so charmed by what they're now doing that they jump in thinking they know a lot, and eventually, after a few years of doing it, they realize how little they've learned. They have to keep learning and learning and learning, with whatever they know. It's a constant thing.
That's
to
life,
continue
right?
to learn.
Yes.
That's life. Everything's a
Right.
learning. There are no failures. There are only learning. So growth is what propels us. Learning is what propels us, or at least that's my perspective.
Yeah, I mean, they find how little they
Knew.
knew before. It's like the teenager that thinks they know a lot, and then later on realizes, when they're more wise, how little they knew, because there's so many shades of gray in the world.
Yeah, it's like after being in banking for 20 years, where I knew everything, to start publishing a magazine where I knew nothing.
Which type of banking did you do?
I was at Banquet Island, and I was in their back office. I ran their loan operations department. So I was in back office banking. I didn't even have customer-facing responsibilities.
You're the type of lady I used to beat my head against regularly.
Wow.
He's always trying to get a loan for building something.
No, I just managed the paperwork.
I know.
Do you have a favorite part of the magazine? Is there any one thing something that resonates more with you?
One of the things I love the best, I love the calendar section. There's such fascinating things going on in Rhode Island that I don't think you're going to find anywhere else except in this magazine. And every month when I'm putting the calendar section, when I'm proofreading the calendars, I'm always then going back to my personal calendar and trying to see what I can fit in. And I want to go to this workshop, and I want to check out this class. There's just so many exciting things happening.
Where's the calendar in here?
They're usually the last, toward the back. One of the wonderful things is the format is pretty much always the same every month. So that the community resource guide is going to be your last handful of pages, and then your calendar section is also going to be in the back as well. So usually around page 46 or so is going to be where your
There it
calendar is
is.
going to be.
And there's a lot of things going on, so there's
Really
there's
are.
something
There's a
for
lot.
everyone
There really
to
is.
explore.
Yes,
Yes.
there is. There's a lot of.
And some of them are free events, and some of
Here's
them
a free massage. Click.
only on Monday night, every other Monday night at 5 o'clock. That's what
6:30
we
to
tape.
8:30
Yep, I think that
at,
is that at Ridley.
Ridley Roll.
Yeah, yep, the massage students. Yeah, yep, but they're a great new customer.
So before we run out of time, thank you so much, Maureen, for
Yeah.
joining us tonight. We
Thank you
still
for
have a few
having me.
minutes, so thank you, and thank you, Josie and Ken. We can keep talking, but I did want to thank you for joining
Yeah,
us,
well, thank you for
and thank
having
you
me.
for telling us more about the magazine. So now I have a better understanding of how it all works and how things happen. It's really cool, like you said, how everything sort of integrates together. You have the national with the local, and I really like the networking events. I myself have attended several, and I enjoy meeting people that are like, you recognize them. Oh, you're in the magazine. Oh, I've been wanting to meet you.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's really it's a great resource and a wonderful community.
Thank you.
So, any more questions?
Well, My only thought is that
How
if
much
somebody's
time?
interested in getting into to learning more about the paranormal, her calendar or event pages might be very helpful to that.
Yeah.
Some
Well,
of it's very,
metaphysical, more than paranormal.
well,
'cause there's
more
a little-
healing,
Yeah.
mostly healing of different varieties, mental, physical, spiritual, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no one answer.
No, no. There's many roads, but they all wind up in one place. Health, in this case.
Oh, I thought you were going to say underground.
No. That's not where the spirit goes.
No, no.
All right. Well, thank you so very much.
Oh, thank you.
And we look forward to your event later this month.
good. Thank
I know
you.
that.